welcome to the Outward Podcast. I'm here today with my two hosts, Calum Rogers and Daniel Real.
Hey guys, good to be here.
How we doing?
Welcome. It's actually three of us here.
It's
this time.
happened.
I know the gang is together.
Yeah.
It's been,
I've been
4
the
weeks coming.
I've been the one constant.
Yeah.
You two are like
Yeah.
fading in and out,
We've had our own stuff for years.
But now we're all together with a
the gangs.
with a
together.
trilogy of people.
Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
Our flesh and blood.
That's what they call us, by the way. Everyone calls us the Three Musketeers.
Yeah. It's our
Yes.
it's our name now.
Yeah.
Can we rename the podcast?
It's a shame that Art of War is 4 modes. Because
Yeah.
then we could argue about which mode we all are.
I mean, I guess we have to count Liam as part of it.
All right. I'll
Well,
be
technically, the Three Musketeers did have one assistant, right?
There was like 4.
It was
yeah,
4,
there
but
were
you never
4,
count
yeah.
the fourth guy, right? That's
Yeah.
Liam.
Yeah.
Okay.
By far the best
Severe
part.
one of us, but
Yeah.
still.
I hope he
It's
does-
because he's too good. We just
He's
kick
the
him
one
out.
that just
He's too good
bails
to
us
get
out.
mad.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't watch this.
He doesn't need his ego boost.
So
that's
he's
why.
bailing us out. So he's banished on the Art of War card.
Yeah.
Banished draw too. Yeah.
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 I reckon I'm +1 because I'm the one I'm all reliable. I'm always here.
Well, you'll have to be defended from Arsenal. No, you have.
I like.
Because that's what you like to do. Go again. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All I do
you're-
is
you're a
play
Dark Souls
anything.
player.
If
You
the
go
card
for it.
says go again on it, I'm playing it. If the
Oh,
card
yeah.
doesn't say go again on it,
we
fine.
are the mode men.
yeah.
No. Anyway,
Anyway.
week of Fab.
Yeah, pretty big
Yeah.
news came out just today.
Yeah.
So Tales of Aria product announcement today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very exciting.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah, pretty fortunate having today as well.
Yeah.
Just before the podcast.
Perfect timing. Just for us. We, pulled some strings.
We pulled some shit.
Yeah.
I talked to him.
Talk
Took
to
some
James White.
It is
Yeah.
a small set. Did you notice that?
No,
It's only 238 cards. Isn't that a lot smaller than Monarch?
well, it's like 300 something.
Yeah.
But I guess Monarch has like the duality of
Yeah.
Shadow.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
maybe
it had
they
Nick
still
Spence
have.
hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Only 3 new heroes.
3 new Blitz
And-
young heroes.
No, it says
Oh,
3
3 new heroes.
Yeah.
Just, was that
Straight
that,
up. It's
is
not.
that-
It's in the top. It's a standalone booster set introducing 3 new heroes
Oh.
with all new mechanics.
And I mean, we already know one of them,
Yeah.
which is a new
Well,
ranger
Lexi.
hero.
The new waifu of 2021.
We talked about this.
Yeah. The new ranger.
Some of that order.
Like, you pick one waifu and that's it.
It's-
You don't get to change every set.
Mate, these
Yeah.
guys are changing every set. We just don't get a
You
choice.
animals.
Honestly, I'm quite happy and disappointed that it's a ranger. I'm happy because the ranger fans finally get what they've been waiting for, but part of me wanted the Rangers to get no support and then to be still hyped about Seek Horizon and Memorial Ground. Just
Yes, we got 2 cards, guys.
Could you imagine if the next 8 came out, there's no ranger, and there's still like Memorial Grounds 2.0 gets printed, and all the ranger players are like, yes, yes,
Pump it.
and it's just like more
Okay.
garbage. But yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
they'll actually. I mean, this is what I said earlier on before the ranger was actually like fully spoiled. Was that my number one priority for Aria?
Tales of
Aria.
Yeah.
Was that I wanted ranger to be a playable class.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I think she is like the rogue hero that can come out of nowhere and like really put some of the top heroes down. Like she has really good abilities against some of the other trait heroes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Definitely. And it also means like a new ranger, but as we saw in Monarch, it also means generic ranger support for
Yeah.
Azalea as well.
Yeah.
So it's not just leaving Azalea in the dust.
I'm very interested to see how this is gonna weigh up, right? Because Azalea is a traditionally very weak hero, and if when Lexi comes out, the new ranger hero, is she gonna leave Azalea in the dust, or are they both gonna be brought? Is Azalea gonna be brought up and be on level with Lexi and both be good, or is Lexi gonna be mediocre at the same level, or is Lexi gonna be much more powerful than Azalea?
I think like even if there is only like 5 new ranger cards, not because I assume some are talent cards, so like
Yeah.
talent ranger,
Yeah.
whatever it is, lightning ranger or whatever everyone's predicting it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if she only gets 5 ranger cards, I imagine some of them will bring her up, and it won't be a matter of whether they do or not. It will
Yeah.
just be
I
fun.
think like
anything's better than what she's got right
Yeah,
now. Right?
for
Yeah.
sure. I
And-
think It'll be interesting to see the direction that they take Lexi, because like what we saw in Monarch, I guess the best example I can think of is Bolton and Dorinthia. Like the warriors are built around attack reactions.
Entirely.
That point of like engaging in combat, as James White put it.
The Dorinthia's attack reaction, weapon focused, and
Bolton
Bolton is more attack action focused.
Yeah. So Bolton's is like his hero ability is attack reaction, give it go again, and Dorinthia has reprise. And I wonder what ranges will be, because Azalea is very much like hate bears. It's very much the arrow gets through, you can't do something, you lose an ability.
I mean,
and that does seem very less of a broad theme, I guess, than the point of combat.
I think like Azalea is like a very grounded character. Like she uses like physical weapons to attack people. Whether this new ranger is going to be a bit more mystical.
Yeah.
But balance wise, I predict that the new ranger is going to be considerably more powerful than Azalea, and that Azalea is probably unfortunately going to be a bit left behind. Just because I think, she's getting a whole set.
I think she gets a buff, but it's not enough, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Like the hero's weak for a reason. There's like fundamentally some design issues with how Azalea works that I think can be fixed with the brand new hero ability, right?
I think I'm very excited to see Lexi, because like you actually noticed, I hadn't noticed, pointed out in the art, is that she has 2 bowstrings on her bow.
Yeah, so the way her bow looks is it has 2 strings next to each other. So maybe like you knock 2 arrows into them. And we were talking and we were like, how is double shot not a card?
Yeah.
Or twin shot.
Maybe it will be.
It seems like a really obvious card to print.
I think the thing that I noticed as well is there was a running theory that there might be a 3rd class in there that isn't new. It is just old and it's just getting slightly re-imaged, like say Bravo gets a talent and whatnot. I think it's not possible at all. I think with the set only having 27 Majestics, which is like just under, it's like half of exactly what was in Monarch.
Well, by the time you add in the generics as well.
Yeah.
That already seems very unlikely. There are 6 legendaries again, which is interesting. It makes it seem like there is 2 legendaries per hero, or,
Yeah. Maybe like 2 locations.
Yeah.
Which could be, I think, with the new art that's been spotted, I think that's a big possibility.
I don't think there's another region. I think it's
Like a
With
landmark.
locations within Aria.
like the landmark cards, like library.
yeah.
So like some of the legendaries might be landmark cards. Because I think there's more than one to obviously pick for a fable.
Yeah.
But I could see the tree. Like Aria has like an Yggdrasil type thing. That's the name of the Viking tree, right? I can't remember it.
I just know of it as like the Tree of Life.
The Tree of Life.
Yeah.
And maybe that will be their location that they print. But yeah. So going back to more gameplay terms, one thing that I'm kind of been thinking about is I think like a design problem in Monarch where the talents kind of cannibalize some of the cards for the heroes. Like say Bolton and Prism I think are a good example of this with the library and Vestige of Soul are 2 light cards. So they're meant to be used in both. But I think one hero's design has cannibalized those cards. So those cards work a lot better in Prism than they do in Bolton.
Yeah.
Which means Bolton feeling like it has less cards available to it.
Yeah,
so that
I
kind
feel
of
like
makes
the problem
sense.
is Vestige works. My opinion is Vestige works better in Bolton than Prism. But that's largely due to the fact I play an aggro.
You mean Prism instead of Bolton?
I think Vestige is better in Bolton than it is in Prism. And that's largely due to the fact that I play an aggro Prism and they're just, 9 times out of 10 the first attack is a pity.
The issue with Bolton is that you just never pitch a second time. Like
so
ever.
So like the way, for those who don't know how Vestige works, is it gives you an additional resource for when you pitch after a card has gone into Soul. However, additional costs are paid after you pitch. So if you go Bolton, you play Take Flight for 1, you pitch say a yellow or a blue card, and then you charge. That first initial charge doesn't count towards Vestige. So Bolton actually, at least in the aggro build, actually tends to function better off Tunic, because in most Bolton builds, you're not pitching ever that second time.
The issue is by the time you've pitched 2 cards and charged a card, your hand is doing not very much at all for a 4-card hand. So the Vestige doesn't work. The library certainly doesn't work because you're never pitching twice. And some of the other light cards don't really fit either. So it kind of feels like one hero got more of the spotlight. And I'm thinking with Tales of Aria, might be like even more pronounced because there's 3 heroes presumably sharing 1 talent. So I'm thinking like some of those cards are going to be like really stretched for how they cover. Like, let's say if new class A has like 60%, well, let's just say 50% of the talent cards that are kind of more fitting them than the other heroes, then the other heroes become like much weaker because they have like less of a card pool.
Idealistically, I would like like if there is coinciding classes, there's another warrior in there, or there's another guardian. Idealistically, I want the 3rd class to get more of the talent cards. That way, they have a bigger pool to play with. Because that's the thing with Bolton. Bolton does have
the warrior cards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Whereas Prism doesn't have access to anything else except for generics, which actually changes.
I do think it's a problem long term though, where it makes things like kind of harder to expand upon. Like in the future, like some of these like talent cards are going to be like a lot more powerful for certain builds. So other builds don't really feel like a light hero or like a shadow hero. They feel more like a hero that has some shadow in them, you know, because like some other hero cannibalized all the cards.
I think it's interesting to note is that maybe it is just 1 talent for Aria, right? Because Monarch was a clash between two different areas, and Tales of Aria hasn't really seemed like that.
Tales of Aria just feels like 1.
Yeah.
Because they mentioned that talents were locked to the regions, not
think
the specific areas within the regions.
I think we would know if there was going to be 2. So maybe it's 2 talents within Aria, but like when Monarch Aria came out, we were shown like battlegrounds and 2 different sides and like war. And the artwork that we're seeing for Aria is not that. It's one place, right? Or different aspects of one place.
I feel like it's only 1 talent.
It is.
I think so.
Yeah, I definitely don't think there's a second talent, which actually makes draft and sealed very interesting.
Yeah. So yeah.
Draft even more so.
3 new heroes. Oh, so it'll be 4. I'm assuming.
No, it's 3 heroes total.
3 heroes total. I don't think
It
it's
says
a 4th hero.
3.
I don't think
You don't think
there's
there's a
room for
4th?
hero.
You don't think there's a 4th hero at all?
Even if it's an old one, I don't think there's room. There's 27 Majestics. You got to divide that into 3
that's
already.
true.
That's like 7 plus a couple
It's
generic ones,
It's
right?
about 8. It's about
8, yeah.
I think it's 7 each, and then another 7 like generic. Oh, not even generic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is not very many at all. Not enough for 4 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which will make draft, I think, way more interesting with 3.
Yeah.
Well, I think almost.
I think it like leaves you way more open because you can get away with just picking talent cards. Like,
the issue is like, can you though? Because if 8 people are showing up to the draft saying, "I'm going to pick the talent cards," there's only 1 talent to pick from. So if everyone's picking the talent cards, they're going to dry up in 2 packs.
Well, you think,
You know?
but the pack will be pretty full. I imagine it's a 15 card pack, so of course you throw 2 out
By the
basically
time
for
you have-
weapon and token.
By the time you have your subpar generics, and then you have, like, I think in Monarch you'd get about 4 talent cards per.
Yeah, but it'll probably be a lot more in this because they already have another 2 like slots on there as well that they can include into.
I guess there's less
It's
heroes.
like 4 to 5,
so
and then you can have.
there's
another
like 2 to 3 extra commons per pack.
Yeah.
I guess, but I still think that if everyone prioritizes these talent
if
cards,
prioritizes it,
I think it could be an interesting strategy where you do just hard pick a hero right at the start.
Yeah.
Just try and get some really good cards, and then maybe get some talent cards in the second pack to fill out once everyone
Well,
else
imagine
is
it only
decided.
being 3 heroes and you're the only drafter of one of them. That would be nuts. Everyone else at the table is fighting over 2 heroes. It's already it's already good enough if you're
2
one.
of them are fighting over 3.
Yeah.
Like 3 different ways.
The thing
Yeah.
is even without the 4th hero, all 3 of those heroes are stronger, even at a table of 8.
Yeah.
Because there's got to be more of their cards in it, right? Which means there's going to be more double ups, you know, like more Seeds of Agony, for example, with Monarch.
Yeah.
Like, if Monarch was only 3 heroes, there'd be a lot more Seeds of Agonies and, you know, like, Pixie Malice and that.
Yeah, you get a
picked,
higher
right?
concentration of
Yeah,
those
that's true.
heroes.
Yeah.
But because 1 extra player is forced to play, like 2 players,
Yeah, but
right, are
the amount of
basically
cards
forced to
isn't
play them.
lessened, right? So the amount of cards isn't lessened per pack. The amount of cards is still the same. There's just less heroes, which means your deck should be, in theory,
But
end up bigger than it normally does.
the issue is that there are 2 additional players fighting over the heroes.
Yeah.
So even though there are the same number of cards, the people fighting over the same cards is higher.
Yeah.
So even if you are slightly more likely to open them, they're more likely to get picked first pick.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be able,
Balances out,
like,
right?
it makes a difference. So, like, if there's a good card, say, in Monarch, if there's a good card for Chain, right, and you're pretty sure you're the only Chain player, you could just try and let it wheel.
Yeah.
In this set, you're never going to be able to do that. If you see a good card, you just have to take it.
Which I think is going to be very, very interesting for it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm excited for if there's going to be more cards that you just slam first pick. Like, if you see, like, Soul Reaping or VM for Vanguard, slamming that card down. You don't even look at anything else. Unless you're money drafting, maybe you look at other stuff, but otherwise you just...
You just slam it and just pass it. Vestige.
Yeah.
or Footsteps or
I
something.
think,
Big brain.
Sealed is going to be good because 30 card decks won't be a thing.
I think it'd be great for Sealed.
Yeah, I think
Because,
Sealed
like,
would be...
so many Seal pools you open, just crap.
Yeah, and the thing is 50% of those games are fatigued, right?
Yeah.
Like if you played Chain and Sealed, 9 times out of 10 you lost because you were fatigued. You didn't lose.
Or you just didn't have enough damage to get there, right?
Well, it's like what we've seen in Sealed throughout all the sets, right? Is that you kind of, if your deck isn't amazing for 3 of the heroes, you kind of, I mean, slightly different Arcane Rising because you can go Rune Blade or Ranger Pile depending on how many salvage shots you get.
Yeah, so...
But like,
Or just
welcome to
put it on the
Wraith.
table.
Yeah, welcome to Wraith. If you look at your pool and it's average for everything, you slam down Bravo, most efficient weapon and hero ability in limited format. It was the same for Monarch.
Yeah.
And Sealed, average pool for everything, nothing amazing. Slam Prism,
It's
most
actually
efficient.
not quite that, I think. You're on the money, but I don't think you got the reason quite correct. So, efficiency. Bravo's weapon is not the most efficient. Dawnblade is. 1
Oh,
for
yeah,
3,
1 for
right?
3, yeah.
The idea, I think, that these heroes are strong is threat conservation.
Yeah.
So, basically, you can threaten your opponent without actually using many of your cards, so that you'll naturally have a deck advantage, which is, like, very important for Sealed when your deck is very limited.
Yeah.
And the quality of your cards is somewhat middling. So, like, traditionally, those heroes are the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think in Sealed, it's going to be better because there's going to be a lot more heroes that can actually, like, get there and be aggressive and play their good cards, you know, and so you don't just end up playing this pile of, well, I get to swing with my weapon.
You actually get to have, like, a catered deck for it rather than I just have to mash this pile to give it to make it work. Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to the most. Because, like, obviously in draft, the card quality tends to be higher.
Yeah.
I expect there to be more decisions as well. Like, if you've got 3 heroes, then the pulls are going to be a bit closer, right?
Yeah,
so unless
exactly.
you open up, like, a really powerful card for one hero, it's going to be quite hard to pick, I think.
I definitely think it's going to be really interesting.
Because we see in, like, generics of the set, like, a good example is Razor Reflex, right? Like, you can play that in both Ninja and Warrior. And you get generic cards like that, or the cards that can play by all 3 heroes in Aria, that suddenly fit into all 3 categories will be really, really cool.
Yeah. Welcome to Wraith. Like, looking back at it now, Welcome to Wraith is a really strange set because the generics are disproportionately powerful. Like, we've never seen more generic commons as powerful as the original ones from Welcome to Wraith. You know, you've got so many classic cards: Scar, Snatch, Razor, Pummel,
Sloggism.
Snapdragon Scalers.
Sloggism. Like, really, really playable cards. You compare them to, like, the good generics in Monarch and Arcane Rising, it's not even close.
Yeah.
So,
it'd be interesting. Yeah. I think eventually they'll have to do a set where the generics are, like, predominantly more powerful to match up with the changing flow. Because, you know, obviously, I don't want Sink Below to be a bad card or Razor Reflex to be a bad card, but eventually, you know, you sort of want people to move away from using them and use something else as well. I mean, like, you do want them to use it, but at the same time, you don't want it to be their only option, right?
I kind of disagree, because I think, like, cards like Sink Below and Fate Scene are meant to be classic staples of the game.
Yeah.
That's why they were printed in the first 2 sets, and, like, they have, like, those first edition foiling and stuff. They're going to be sought after. And I think the deliberate downpowering of generics after those, and that initial set especially, is so that they don't have to print good defense reactions in common for constructive playability, right? Because if you start playing, like, if you print Razor Reflex at common, then you need a defense reaction in the set. You need a defense reaction for most classes. Otherwise, the card is, like, even more insane.
Yeah. I mean, it's like what we've seen with the I think the defense reactions, the generic red defend for 6 or defend for 4. Sorry, is like you go through. Welcome to Wraith. This first one, Sink Below. You're replacing a card in your hand, and then Arcane Rising, slightly more on theme with Arcane Rising, you get to opt one.
Yeah.
Monarch, we said again, it's slightly closer to, I guess, what you could call like deck manipulation with Rise Above, where you're putting the card back on top.
Yeah.
Say if you want it banished, whatever, or for your Levia swing, and sealed.
Yeah.
You're not really playing it that much in constructed.
Yeah.
Maybe in Ranger, you want to Rise Above.
Rise
dominate,
Above is
but
really
yeah.
interesting because it's fundamentally different to the first two.
Yeah.
Because it's rare, so it appears way less
rare.
often.
Cost 2.
So, like, it's rare and in rainbow. So, like, most of the 8% of sync belows you open are going to be like yellow or blue, right? Not red. Same with Rise Above, but you're going to see them less often because of the rarity. And also the card disadvantage. So, or it's equal, right?
Yeah,
'Cause,
well,
like,
it depends on what you're
two
playing.
generics block for 4.
Yeah.
In Monarch, Rise Above puts a card on top of your deck and blocks for 4.
Yeah.
So it's about the same as 2 generics.
Yeah.
So which is like 50% as efficient as a sync below.
Yeah. But it'll just be interesting to see if they have like an Aria themed around the kind of gameplay of Aria themed equivalent, right? Which has some form of manipulation tied to the generic red 4 defense reaction
Yeah, okay.
to play it out. I mean, it'll probably just be a rare like Rise Above,
Yeah.
like for the aforementioned thing. Like there's like Rise Above is strictly worse than.
My
15.
prediction is that we won't see a generic defense reaction
Yeah.
in the set, and that we won't see any attack reactions. But I could be wrong.
Won't see any attack reactions
Was
or
there
defense
an attack
reaction.
for
Monarch? Generic one.
There
or
is not a generic one.
There's no generic attack reaction.
How about there's an attack
Class.
reaction for this here, but no defense reaction?
Then that would be very interesting because it makes that card very, very obscenely powerful because you can
What if
interact.
it's not though? What if its cost is ridiculous and its effect isn't that great, but it's not bad paired with something else?
Maybe.
Yeah,
I mean,
think
like,
cards like that make
Like,
sealed
for
more interesting in
example, like,
draft.
as we just discussed, Rise Above does have a very downside to playing. It does defend. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
Has niche uses as
Yeah,
well,
it's very
but
niche
it's
uses,
more
but-
of the time it's a downside.
Yeah.
yeah.
I could
I
see the
mean,
same
those
thing
those
happening
kind of
for
things
Overcharge.
are possible, right? But I think like it is kind of an intentional design decision how they use these cards. Like Bolton very intentionally has the only class with attack reactions,
Yeah.
and Light gets Glisten. But I feel like it's intentional that because there aren't many defense reactions, only one hero gets the advantage of playing in that step.
Yeah.
So
And looking at Glisten as well, the card, if you're using it for the equivalent of Razor Reflex,
yeah,
it's super, super expensive for what it actually does.
yeah.
And-
It costs 3, right?
Wouldn't-
3 or 2, if I'm correct?
Oh, 3,
3. It costs 3.
2. I can't remember.
Can't quite remember. But basically, it costs a lot for what it actually does if you're trying to use it like a
It's inefficient,
traditional
right?
weapon.
It's nowhere close to
it
a
is-
warrior attack
yeah.
reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess going forward, I think they have to be really careful with how they print attack reactions and defense reactions because they're some of the most powerful effects in the game.
Yeah.
Attack reactions, like, make available like crazy aggressive combos, and defense reactions enable like really tall defensive decks. So I think they want to keep those in check.
Yeah. I think that they're probably 100% will. You've seen before, because I think attack reactions and defense reactions. Like attack reactions it's where you're blowing out. It's a combat trick.
Yep.
Well, there's a section of combat where there's a possibility if the opponent doesn't have a defense reaction where they don't get to interact
Yeah.
anymore.
I actually just thought of something actually. So Guardian is the only hero so far that has really like used auras a whole lot.
Yeah.
So maybe some of the other maybe the draft format is more focused around auras and like building up kind of a semi board state or something. It'd be quite
Oh yeah, that's a
Different.
good point. Yeah.
Mm.
Be-
Prism did bring that to Monarch, but it's not really.
it's not quite the same, is it?
Yeah.
Well, she's utilizing the auras right as kind of attacks and kind of like a shield, I can't quite remember the word I'm trying to get, but like
Wall.
you got like a wall, like a phantasmal wall, right? It's not really real. Whereas like Guardians, you got Stumble Confidence. It's an aura that's affecting all these cards that
Like
cost 3 or more as well.
I think like Prism's auras are more like minions, right?
Yeah.
They're like attackers and defenders. Where I feel like Guardian, when he uses his auras, he's fundamentally like changing the rules of the game. They're more like enchantments or something.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Like in enchantments and magic basically change the rules of the game in some way. They might give your creatures an added bonus or something. I feel like his auras are more like passive abilities that you can kind of stack up, and I think that would be an interesting way to mix up the sealed and draft format.
Yeah.
Where not everything is an attack, or maybe attacks are fairly limited.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, I guess that was a long detour. The
Oh, yeah,
artwork,
that's
the
right.
I guess.
artwork.
Holy
The
Oh.
artwork. Yeah.
Listen, I love Mysteria artwork, but this has got me questioning which region I prefer so
Yeah.
far the most.
Isn't it
Because,
Mysteria?
They've
well,
No,
only for a certain individual on the podcast who will remain unnamed.
for his own
They've-
safety.
Yeah.
yeah, so that's Mysteria artwork.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, so the new artwork for Aria, I think they've absolutely nailed this high fantasy theme.
Yeah,
Oh.
for starters, Eisenloth
Yeah,
is
just-
amazing. It is. It's
looks like
clearly a
like-
frozen over city.
It looks like a Viking, almost
Yeah.
like Viking-esque. Reminds me
Yeah.
of Freljord from League.
yeah,
Same kind of vibe.
So it does seem like it's winter in Aria.
yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's spring.
And some area, there's some
Yeah, there's some
spring-ish
areas
looking,
where it's springish areas.
but it
So
looks
maybe
more.
like time zones in the area Aria
Yeah.
fluctuating.
I mean,
just
it
due to
could be
weather.
it could
Yeah.
be regions in Aria almost where they're almost
Yeah.
climate locked, right?
Yeah.
There's a possibility that region
Yeah.
is as
Yeah.
perma winter there.
Yeah, so like in Crucible we got like Sledge of Anvilheim. So Heim is, the home in
Yeah.
Norse. Yeah.
I believe so.
In Norse. So like bets are that it's gonna be very Viking themed.
Yeah, which would be
So
sick.
I think that would be really cool if we got like a Valkyrie or something.
I
Yeah.
think it would be awesome if we get someone who's designed to use Sledge of Ambelheim, which is not a once per turn attack. Imagine a hero being able to swing at you twice for 6 with a weapon, just bashing your head in.
It'd be
Maybe
maybe if
Maybe.
they did like let's assume that it's like a Viking place,
Yeah.
right? Like the integral story of like Viking mythology is like their Armageddon, right? What's the word for it?
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok, right? And what if Ragnarok is like when like the weave around Arya kind of falls down, and then like they basically release their fabled warriors to basically go and fight all of Wraith? How sick would that be?
You just want a region to invade another region. You,
Oh,
just
yeah,
want,
I
you
do.
want Arya to
This
wage
guy's
all out
here
war.
with a match, and he's like, "I'm lighting a fire for the war." This
I want
is
something
it.
to
I
happen.
don't care.
I want a big fight. This is gonna be awesome.
And next thing
I think
you
that
know,
would- that would be really
Yeah.
Nick's Flux adaptation. And then he's like, "You ever played
Zack Snyder's Arya.
Anyway, it is a beautiful, like, I guess you say, like, it's like, I can't think of the word for me right now. A dam. It's like a dam.
Yeah, yeah.
Dam town, and you can see that the water flows down the mountain
Like,
and
and it's
through the
frozen?
town.
But
And
it's
I
frozen
imagine
over,
it
yeah.
look- yeah, it's frozen over. So like winter blasters hit it. And I
Yeah.
imagine it'll look amazing in like summertime.
Yep.
Mm.
Moving on, we have another city.
Which is,
Vault Haven. So it's like very lightning themed.
it looks a lot.
Bit like Matrix
The,
almost.
The Aurora Borealis in the sky there looks a lot like where Lexi is from in her adult
Yeah.
artwork.
True, because she
And
has she has the aurora right behind her.
Behind her, and
She
she's
does
got the
have, like,
lightning on her bow.
lightning, Yeah.
So my bet is that's probably where she's
She's
from,
from?
that city. But I mean, that looks really, really, really pretty. It's got the cool, like the floating rocks as well. It's way more, I guess, mystical than
think,
the
like,
previous one.
I
Which
think
is-
almost
yeah.
like majesty is the word.
Yeah.
Like they've really captured like the majesty. Like it's almost like we're an explorer, and we've gone into this place, and we're like seeing the different vistas as we like travel through Aria. I think it's such a cool perspective
Yeah.
that they've given us. And then we have after that we have
Candlehold.
Candlehold. It's like a high fantasy woodland.
I love this. It looks like where all the little elves or gnomes are from. That looks
yeah.
really, really cool.
I love how like the crystals are like making the trees float and they light up the city.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's actually like pretty insane.
Yeah. And
Like this,
Yes.
this big coverage above this town, from all these trees just floating in the air
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
all these magical crystals lighting up.
And you can see like this kind of fog and spring, like just at the base of the tower, kind of coming out and flowing down through like the rest of the
Yeah.
town.
Look-
So
Yeah.
It looks like the area where, I guess, I mean, it's not exactly, but where Tome of Harvest, the new card that
Yeah, I
Mark
can
Paul
see that.
drew, like Tome of Harvest looks like. Out of the ones there, that's where it belongs.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess, out of the options that we've seen so far. But yeah, they're really, I guess, Evergreen, a stark contrast to the
this
first
is,
one.
This
which
is like the
Everfrost,
most
right?
like high elf type.
Oh, for sure.
Type city, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas like the architecture is very obviously like based on trees. And, I mean, this
Yeah.
is a pretty common trope, but
With,
it's like really
elven
cool to
themes,
see
Yeah.
just like the artwork that they've
Yeah.
done here and like made it look amazing.
Image in their own way.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like as for this, like a lot of the stuff is things that we've seen before in other like universes and games, but I think the presentation and so top notch that
Oh,
they
for
can
sure.
just get away with it. You know, like
And it's very clearly their own twist
yeah.
on the tropes that we've seen before.
I mean, the thing it reminds me most of is like Riverdale. Is it from Lord of the Rings? The Elf City. I'm trying to think if that's the name.
I've only read the books. I have not watched the movies, so
Oh,
I
okay.
couldn't tell you. Yeah, I
You're gonna have to
I'm gonna
come to my place for
I
drinks.
think I'm
and
gonna
stuff.
get.
We'll
I'm,
get-
yeah, I'm gonna
What
get
are you
cancelled
doing
for
for the
that.
next 12.5 hours?
Yeah, we'll get you and Liam over
We're
for
watching
drinks
the
and Lord of the
extended
Rings.
editions
Yeah.
with the commentary.
And if you don't know the chants off by heart by the time we're halfway through the battles, like come on.
I have a feeling I shouldn't have mentioned that.
This is New Zealand pastime is
Yeah.
screaming at the Lord of the Rings.
Are you
Love
from
to
New
rock.
Zealand?
Well, that's a complicated answer. Not born here.
You're not?
No, I was born in Sydney.
Oh, okay.
That explains a lot. Get out. Done.
I did.
The next thing we have is Lake Frigid.
So, compared to the others, there's not a lot going on. It's
This is
I
my.
tell you,
Really
the
simple.
art isn't putting out. That's what's going on.
What do you? This is by far my favorite art and
yeah, I
favorite
actually
location
really like
by
this.
far.
Like it's like
Imagine having a
a
weekend there,
serene-
waking up there in the morning. Oh,
oh my feet are cold.
yeah, you wear
Like
some
I don't know,
socks.
the like serene beauty of
Yeah.
it. You know, like there are these populated places of Aria where lots of people are, but they're also like vistas that only you can see on that morning. You know, I think that's really cool, and it kind of adds to that flavor of like exploring it.
It's just so isolated. It's so
Yeah, it's like peaceful,
looks
right?
completely untouched, right?
Yeah, there's no fish or sea monsters or. That's what I find like a lot of
Yeah.
fantasy art does is that it can take something that is good and then just add too much stuff to it. Whether this is just like
Simple.
yeah, it doesn't need a sea monster. It's pretty,
Yeah.
you know. That's all it needs to be.
But I think the Loch Ness monster would make it better.
Yeah.
You
A
did
little bit of a Nessie
just Photoshop it, Nessie.
from the Loch.
Oh,
no.
No,
This is what happened.
we've
to
lost
me.
our photos. I've done
There
it.
we go.
Someone,
And we have Mark
someone
Paul.
keeps fat fingering.
And
So-
then we got Thunder Step.
Done by
Steep.
the legendary.
Double P.
Yes, so step then I guess. Steep, steppy. Steppy.
Steep.
Thunder
Without the L.
Tahunda Steppy.
I don't know.
All right, we got to show. We got to
If
show
I
the.
butcher it,
If anyone's watched The
altogether.
Flash, this just looks like a scene from The Flash where the Speed Force comes out and just like slams down lightning in different colors all over the place for no
Yeah.
reason. It makes no sense, but it's there.
All right. Speaking of
And those for-
Steppy, we have to show the audience
and
how
those,
intelligent
yeah,
we are.
and those for
sometimes.
haven't watched The Flash, it looks like a thunderstorm.
Yeah. For the less like.
But like a very, almost a weirdly controlled thunderstorm.
Yeah,
Like it's
it
very
doesn't look-
concentrated.
yeah.
It's the whole, not the whole sky
It
is
looks like
covered.
someone
It's a very
summoned it
specific
on
area.
purpose to
Yeah.
certain areas.
Yeah.
You do notice that there are glowing rocks down the bottom that
Yeah.
have what looks like lightning crackle through them, where the lightning may have hit already.
Which
Yeah.
is super, super cool.
So you know, this artwork was done by the legendary Mark Paul. You know.
Yeah.
Who
Um,
is he, by the way? I actually don't know. him now.
He illustrated some like. Back in the
Very
day, he
famous
illustrated some classic
Magic
cards.
Magic
Did he do any
cards.
No.
Not that I know of, but
He
his
did,
artwork
like-
isn't really Yu-Gi-Oh.
He did
style.
like what is Ancestral Recall and Birds of Paradise?
Yeah, Ancestral Recall, Birds of Paradise, Old Counterspell,
Yeah.
a bunch of those old cards. He has a very like distinct high fantasy flavor that really like him and Christopher Rush really like laid the groundwork for what old Magic looked like.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so iconic.
Did he do any dual lands artwork?
You're
I
just,
do not know.
I'm not
I
sure.
think
You're just saying magic words at this point.
My ritual lands mean something
it's
good.
it's been a while since I've played Magic, but
Yeah.
anyway,
apologies, I
some
don't-
of his artwork back then, it wouldn't really fit in Flesh and Blood today. It's
No.
a very 90s look,
Yeah.
but it is incredibly iconic. And
Yeah.
some of his new stuff is still incredible. He's such a skilled painter, and I think
Yeah.
we're really going to see some of the best of his artwork in this set. I think Ari has the
Sure.
potential to bring a lot out of
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And like this art, like from his work in like Magic, so a mechanic in Magic is lands, where you basically play lands to play spells instead of like pitching cards.
It's a land. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, right? Like, because the lands have like vistas on them, right? And this looks like it would blow a large amount of Magic's lands out of the water.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's what they're showing us is like we can do land style artwork as well.
Yeah.
You know,
And it just
it's
it
not
looks
just
incredible.
unique to Magic.
Yeah.
And then
Great.
we have Mount Heroic.
I believe this is where Bravo came out of. There's no other place. He's Mr. Heroic.
He was born on the top when like Zeus threw a lightning bolt at him.
Yeah.
This is all
exact-
canon lore, by the way,
Yeah,
for sure.
This is what actually happened.
But you know, this sounds like an area where Bravo would just be like, I was born there.
He's doing pull-ups at
I
the
was
top.
already, he's like, I'm the reason this
Yeah.
place is named this
I
way.
imagine that born at the top of Mount Heroic, and you're just like, you know what, I'm just going to do some music shows and stuff for fun, actually.
Yeah. Anyway, it's
It
so
looks-
good. Like,
It looks incredible.
I like that they didn't feel the need to put like a town or something there. It's just
You know
just
how
the
it only
mountain.
feels like it's spring and winter, and it doesn't feel like autumn
Awesome.
or summer's been displayed at all.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that can be quite.
summery, but a bit more spring-like here.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it feels more springy. Than
Yeah,
it does.
I for sure.
Like there's still a lot of snow, ice, and etc. in this photo.
Mhm.
Would suggest that that isn't like there's a lot of green that would
Oh,
suggest
yeah.
that it isn't currently winter.
And it looks like water to me,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I mean,
think-
like
well, yeah, at the top of the mountain. and stuff,
winter
yeah.
into spring
Yeah.
is like a kind of like season of change,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like even more so
Some-
than the other
something gets
seasons,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
In Aria.
And yeah, I think that's the idea behind the set is that they're going to show some internal change within Aria that will eventually affect everyone else.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's not going to be a whole lot of point.
Yeah,
So I think that might be the theme they're going for, but regardless, it looks really pretty.
Yeah.
So they've done a good job.
And that's-
you know.
honestly, that's good enough for me. If I have pretty artwork to look at when I'm playing the
I'm
game,
happy.
Yeah. Now I want them to be able to write a story that, you know, implements all these unique
Yeah.
places and, you know, have a reason to care about them other than just they look really nice. You know,
for sure.
we don't like not just desktop backgrounds.
Yeah, yeah.
For desktop background's sake. And then I guess the last pieces of art we got were the new heroes, right? The new
Adult
magic hero.
Lexi and
Yeah,
young
yeah.
Lexi.
Mhm.
Yeah,
The other thing to note about the bow, not only does it have 2 strings, most of it's actually in like 8 pieces.
Yeah, it's like floating, isn't it?
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like magical in some way,
Yeah.
right? Which is very like on theme for Aria.
Yeah.
It's
I am a huge fan of Timmy in the background.
Yeah. We got another one. We got
we
Tim
had
Pot-
Tim
Timmy
Pop Tinny, now we've got
insurging militia, and then we got another one.
There's
Yeah.
clearly some religious guy in the background praying.
Yeah.
yeah.
Ringy
There's
top.
lots of interesting characters going on, and I feel like she's not part of the festival. It doesn't seem like a festival atmosphere.
'Cause
More
she
like
just
a
got like a almost like a competition or something.
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's like a games.
Yeah, it look because she just got a bullseye, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and everyone's cheering her on.
yeah.
She's acting like it's
Hyped.
no casual thing. Like it's just another day.
No, just
I'm-
another day at the office.
She's
I am.
like,
Yeah.
so smug, right?
I mean,
It's
if you-
such a
if-
smug
yeah.
expression. I
Yeah.
reckon.
I mean, if you can't land bullseyes as a ranger,
is-
what are you really doing?
One part that strikes me kind of odd is that they have all these like bullseye targets set up, but we don't see anyone else with a bow. Which is kind of weird. If it was a competition or something, you'd expect to see some other
Yeah.
people with a bow.
Maybe it's
Um,
sort of a coming of age thing, similar to I guess maybe Dorinthia, but less
Yeah.
mystical with being chosen by.
Maybe it's like a
For
magic, like a sword in the stone kind of.
Yeah,
deal,
kind of thing,
where
right?
like if you can
If
shoot
the
accurately with this
yeah.
bow, then you're a
Yeah,
chosen
if-
ranger.
yeah,
There's a
so-
couple of people
yeah,
in the
that's a
background that
cool
look
idea,
like
actually.
they'd probably shoot bows. For example, this guy, This side, it looks like he probably should bow, but he doesn't seem to be carrying one. And then same with this female on the right.
Yeah, they obviously
And
look like.
the person that people keep comparing to James White, it is James White, and he got his own face put in there.
Yeah, you reckon?
But they are not doing justice to his hair. His
I
hair
think
looks
it's just
way
too
better
vague
than
to tell.
that.
I think people
And
are
people
seeing what
just
they want to
like
see.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look in the mirror in the morning after a shower and you see James White's head, then I'm not judging, but you might need to check yourself. You know, not every
just get a haircut and that'll fix that ailment for you. Actually,
not every dark-haired smiling male is James White.
Hey guys, it's me.
If it is, if it is him and he got his own self put in the artwork, kudos. But
I don't think it is.
but I don't think it is.
No,
yeah.
this is why I wear the cap on the podcast, so I don't get confused with James White.
Yeah.
I have all my long hair showing.
Hey guys, is that James White?
Hey, it's me,
It's me.
founder of LSS. Just me, I can confirm that as me in
So
the
the-
artwork of young Lexi.
The other piece of
Oh, thank
artwork
you, Mr.
that we
James.
actually haven't talked about, and I don't think we actually have an image of, is the Great Tree itself.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually in the list. So this is the classic Aria region background that we've come to know.
It's just the center of Aria, right?
Yeah.
But this
Oh.
one looks a little bit more colourful than the current one that we had.
And you can actually see, like, in the art, it might be a bit hard to track down on the website, but it actually has, like, the veil, like, circling around it. Like, you can see this green and blue.
Yeah.
Oh, we've
Veil.
got it.
Yeah, we've
Sweet
got
as.
So you
Cool.
did get it. Good job.
Nice one, Greg.
It's what he's paid for.
As if
Yeah.
we pay him.
He pays himself, right? It
Yeah.
counts for something.
Thank you, Manager Greg. Yeah, and you can see, like,
Yeah.
very clearly, like, that there is, like, magic in the air around this tree. So, obviously, like, a very, like, spiritual, magical place. I think that kind of emanates out
Yeah.
into the rest of Aria.
And that's
It's really
probably the only other person with ownership of a key art of Aria that's actually very similar to it. It is significantly different from mine.
Yeah, it does look pretty different, eh?
Yeah.
So this is the other Aria artwork that you can find. Nick's got a very rare playmat of it, but you
Mine
can
is
see
clearly
the
in the
image
red.
on the
I think mine's
website.
clear.
They're on the
Clearly more
websites. They
in-
got all the assets of the on the website. So like they got the Mysteria
It's like the
art,
original
the
image,
original.
right?
Mine
image
shows
art,
what
yeah.
looks like a bard coming into Aria from a more ground level of that picture of
Yeah.
that tree.
Yeah, it does look
And
somewhat.
It does
similar.
look more like it's summertime in mine than it does in that one. 'Cause
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
a lot of sunlight glow coming in from the
the
side.
top, unless I guess
Yeah.
of like the budding, like that one had a lot of flowers. Almost looked like everything was blooming
Yeah,
when that
yeah.
had
Anyway,
was
it's
bloomed.
probably enough art appreciation for one day. I hope you guys enjoyed the art as much as we did. Like, it was a great time, like,
It is.
combing through it all. And
Some excellent desktop backgrounds as well.
yeah, exactly
Yes,
right. I know what I'm
pretty
doing when I
exciting.
get home.
Yeah.
Sick.
I'm printing out a bunch and just painting my wallpaper.
Yeah.
Just putting it on all over my
Yeah.
walls. I'm actually going to surprise my wife when she wakes up and sees that.
I think she's gonna be
Excellent.
thrilled.
I think our marriage is going well.
Honey.
Next week on the Outer Wall podcast, Nick
Yeah.
needs a house. Needs a new home.
Anyway, now we've got our 20 minutes content out of our 10 pictures.
Yeah.
I guess we'll move on to what we've actually been doing this week. So
Testing? Have we been testing?
yeah,
Me and Daniel have done a little bit of testing.
yeah. So I've been losing. That's what I
Yeah.
found out.
What are you playing?
I've been playing Livia and I cannot.
Livia and Bravo. What we initially
Yeah.
tested
So
against.
we played. You were trying out your Bolton deck, your aggro
Yeah.
Bolton.
So I've been testing out some aggro Bolton with Raiden. I'm trying out my own build that I did, and I took Jacob's build from the Devastation to see what
Yeah.
cards were good in there that I wasn't running, and what I liked and what I didn't like. The deck has some legs.
Yeah.
The deck does some insane damage turns off one resource off Tunic. You're
Yeah.
looking at like 10 to 14 damage
Also can
turns
just,
off
like,
one resource.
It can also just be like insanely hard to block out when you're low. Like I think one thing that I found was the card that you're gonna have to remind me of the name. The card that gets +3 when you've charged this turn.
Valiant Thrust.
Valiant Thrust is a busted beyond belief card.
That card is
The fix.
So it's so efficient late game. So for those who don't know, Valiant Thrust gets, if you've charged this turn, it gets +3, and the blue attack is 2, and it goes 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So if you've charged, Valiant Thrust is a blue block 3 cost 1 and attacks for 5. You charge the card is insanely efficient if you charge.
Of course, if you block it with an attack action, it gets an extra +1.
Yeah, +1. And with Bolton, if you've charged this turn, things get plus attack. But also, attack with greater base than its greater attack than its base. So Valiant Thrust essentially reads an aggro Bolton where you don't care about these massive souls. The red one reads as cost 1, attack for 7, guaranteed go again.
Yeah. And it's like, the way you're working, if you're like really low life on Bravo or something, you're trying to block it out desperately. The fact that they can go like, take flight, charging thrust, is it?
Take flight, charging, Valiant Thrust.
Charging, Valiant Thrust rated for 3 is just the extra 3 on the end as well. It just makes it so difficult to defend everything. Like you're going to take damage against the stick.
And also since all of the cards cost 1, you have of course the Bolting Blade, which technically costs 4 but isn't really happening. Most of the time you don't have.
Costs 2, right? If you charge.
Yeah, so the cost gets reduced by 2 each time you've charged. But because you don't need to pitch basically that much resource, if ever at all, in Bolton, you're running full red line and yellow line cards. So if anything that you are pitching to the bottom of your deck, where a lot of decks you had to think, almost more consciously think about preserving threat density in your deck.
You just do it.
You just play the game as Bolton, and you're basically accidentally preserving threat density.
Yeah, that's the thing I found is like when I was playing Bravo against you and I ended up trying to defend out, is that your turns just didn't get weaker.
Yeah.
You know, you went from playing red take flights into
yellow take flights
into Valor Charge.
Yeah.
Into just yellow ones. And I'm like, oh, this still goes over with your +1.
Yeah.
It's so hard to defend the whole game.
I think that is one of the biggest strengths of the deck. Is that at the start it's not as all out aggro as like a Katsu. You kind of build up, and it's almost every 3 turns. It's almost on the tunic. Your tunic and to take flight is kind of you have this big blowout turn, like one resource you're doing 10 to 14 damage, and then late game when they're super low. And you're playing normal charge cards without go again, but they have to block it, so it's getting the +1 from Bolton, and you're giving everything go again, and just the cards are super efficient.
Yeah, and like some of the Bolton Majestics are like absolutely like the power level on them is off the charts.
Yeah,
like Lumina in the aggro Bolton build just reads 1 card if you've charged, just turn 8 damage.
Yeah,
pretty much, with the cost of 1 soul and sometimes gains you health.
Yeah, it's not playing like the big setup Bolton. You're going for this big Lumina combo turn. Lumina Ascension is just a 0 cost, insanely high value card.
Yeah, and Beacon of Victory is just sometimes
search your Lumina.
Just attack, react, deal 1 extra damage, search your Lumina for +8 damage, or if you've got a bunch of cards in Soul, it just kills people out of nowhere. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's just you can charge. A card has got no go again. They go no blocks. You're like, okay, I'll Beacon for 1. Give it its go again off Bolton because it's now got higher attack than its base. Search my Lumina. Lumina you. It's just insane value.
Really crazy. I think the deck definitely had some downsides.
It definitely does.
Consistency seems to be one of the big ones.
Yeah, so the deck interacts a lot with, of course, you need to be charging. So you need as many charge cards as you have. But most of your power cards, like the Valiant Thrusts, come from having charged this turn. So there are definitely hands you read all your cards and it says if you have charged this turn, and you don't read a single card that says charge. It definitely has
like some really rough hands.
Really
you
rough
just
hands.
Attack for 4 or something.
Yeah, so you're just pitching attacking 4, which isn't the worst, but it's definitely not.
It's not ideal, right?
Also, it has found some big issues into chain. It can get close depending if you draw the nuts, but deck isn't fast enough from the very get-go to threaten racing chain.
Yeah.
And chain very easily mid to late game goes over the top. So it feels very much like an uphill battle, which isn't the best for the current meta.
You want to race them, but you take a couple turns to build up, and they take a couple turns to build up, but they just build up harder. They just build up better.
Yeah.
So, I think, chain, having your bad matchup against chain is not
It's not the best.
Right?
It's not.
I think a lot of decks are struggling
with chain.
Against chain.
Yeah, a lot of decks are. It's just
Hero's a bit too good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's. I think at this point it's pretty fair to say he's
2 months.
a bit overpowered.
Wait, actually. 2
Yeah,
months.
I was playing against
2 months. We've got to wait till Aria.
Yeah, I was playing against
Till Ranger comes.
Liam on
Right.
Bolton. I'm like, okay, I've drawn the nuts. There's hope here. I've got a double Lumina turn coming up. Turn 2 or turn 3. Like, this will get me super far in the head. Liam, turn 3 eclipses me and gets his Ursa token. Because he's playing Jason's list where everything is blood debt. And he just piles it out. I'm like staring at my 2 Luminas, like, this doesn't matter anymore.
I just lose.
It just exploded. But yeah, so Chain is definitely a hard one. I haven't played much against like a dedicated aggro Katsu. I played against a mid-rangey control Katsu. That felt very, very easy.
Yeah, because they're using all their attack actions to block you, right?
Yeah.
And then you just get to go one over, and they're super punished for blocking with any 2
Yeah.
block attack action.
Ironically, the hardest deck might be Wizard
Yeah, true.
because you're relying solely on take flights
Yeah, to get that
or
over.
Snapdragons. So you're either going take flight or Snapdragons.
Or Steel Hand.
Steel hand. So you have actually limited and some of them
Yeah.
resource heavy ways to give anything go again.
Yeah.
So you can't really threaten too much off just a charge and an on hit because they just go, I'll block.
Yeah, true.
I'll block the on hit with one of my 3 blocks. It's not an attack action. You can't do anything with it. And
Yeah.
I don't really want to have Kano slots in the sideboard because it's not really worth it.
Yeah. Kano is that one hero that's like, oh boy, it has the potential to get you.
Yeah.
But how often you're actually going to run up against it? And we actually had Kano on recently for our +1 against a
There's a
warrior.
few more +1s with Kano coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the way.
Yeah, a
Recorded,
couple.
but just
couple
waiting.
I think Kano's a really interesting geek that should be explored now that the game is a bit more full of heroes.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, he's definitely a hero that can just get some decks. Pretty much out of
Yeah.
nowhere. If you get unlucky and matched up against the Kano, then
Yeah.
How's your prison matchup going? You played much of that?
I haven't played much of it. I've played 1 or 2 games.
it's probably hard.
It's hard. It's okay. You have enough. You can change you can change your deck list a bit more to have like Celestial Cataclysms, Bolting Blades, maybe a CNC to pop, but it's very much unless you're getting to your big blowout turns soon enough, it can just feel very, very hard.
I gotta ask.
I feel like your blowout turns probably suffer a bit from Sentinel.
Yeah, so the Spectral Shields just hurt a lot as well as
Yeah.
Sentinel.
I gotta ask, design-wise, do you feel like a light hero? How many light cards are you using, and do you feel like they actually impact what you're doing, or are you just a warrior offshoot?
I feel it's kind of weird. It's almost in between.
It's like he's arguing that there is a light in there. There isn't.
There is a light. There is somewhat of a light in there. I think it really comes out just playing View of the Vanguard. I think is the one card that stands out to me that actually fulfills that light fantasy of you've charged up the soul
Yeah.
and now everything has this massive payoff.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I just feel like a crazy man with a claymore, and honestly, that's good enough for me playing Raiden.
Dopamine.
And also, if I'm losing against Prism and they have a Sentinel out, I'm happy going swing for 0 with Raiden into the Sentinel and watching it pop. And that's amusing enough for me to have at least somewhat of trouble in the matchup. But yeah, he definitely feels, I guess, less of a light hero than Prism. But he certainly does have, at least the aggro playstyle, where you're not building up this big soul to do this big, massive attack. You're using your soul to then fuel pressure almost immediately.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But
Yeah.
And then Levia for you.
Yeah.
A bit more. You tried Jason's build or an iteration of
Yeah,
it?
I can never win with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably just bad, but I also feel a
You
bit
need to shoot
unlucky.
Jason a couple of messages.
Yeah, I think so, actually. Jason, help me, I can't win.
It does feel like the deck has a high level of variance, right?
I think, like, the deck is also very difficult to learn.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of, like, different unique effects, like the way you're supposed to utilize tomes and when you're supposed to utilize your Banish Zone and how you're supposed to sequence when you scab skins. I think there's, like, a lot of skill in the deck that, you know, a lot of it can feel like bad luck, and a lot of it probably is.
Yeah.
But I also feel like there's a massive amount of skill that determines, like, a good Levia player from a new or poor Levia player. And I feel like, to be honest, I'm not very skilled with the deck. I
Yeah.
don't really know exactly what to do. And I think that's making the deck very punishing to learn to play, because you have a lot of cards that don't block. So, for example, when I was playing against the Bolton deck the other night on webcam, I sideboarded out some defense reactions, and didn't sideboard out the cards that couldn't block, because I was like, well, I want to put them in graveyard so I can banish them, like the tomes and the blue mutated mass.
Yeah.
But of course they don't block, so against the Bolton I was just getting run over game after game, and I'm thinking, well, now we'll have to try it again, but with me taking out a bunch of those cards. So I think the deck is also like really sideboard reliant. You have to work out exactly what cards you need in and what matchups so you can actually block against the opponents that need it, but also have enough toolbox and fuel from your banish to justify playing your hero over, say, Rhinar.
Yeah. It does seem very much like almost like it's this. Your deck isn't really a deck of cards. It's this toolbox that you got to figure out what all the tools in the toolbox are before you can have these massive ceiling turns.
Yeah.
But it's almost like when you're a kid and your dad's helping your dad out for the first time working on something. He's like, "Give me the spanner." And you're a kid, you don't know what a spanner is, and you're looking through this massive toolbox, got no idea.
Yeah, what do I go for?
What you go for? Like, you're just kind of guessing at what you think, this could look like a spanner. I just feel like Levia almost feels like there's so many tools that you
almost feel like it's one of the hardest decks in the game to learn, simply because, like, not only is it difficult to play, it's extremely punishing to get wrong, and it's also extremely punishing to be unlucky. So not only do you need the mental fortitude to make it through all the ones, stick with the deck, don't abandon it for something else.
Yeah.
Then, actually learn the deck solidly, and then to be able to get consistent on it. I think the really great Levia players, if the deck is competitive in the future, will be some of the best players in the game.
I think for sure.
Just, I don't have a handle on the deck. I'm really struggling with it, but I think there's massive potential there for a really powerful deck.
Yeah, you got to figure out the toolbox. It's super, super punishing. And then part of it, the skill as well, is like almost like it's a lot of math of how much can I lower my variance? Right? What are my odds? How do I rein in this variance? Yeah. So it's in my favor the majority of the time. And when do I have to go? When do you have to just let go and just go? I need to just
and the dedication as well, right? Because like there are going to be some games you lose where it is luck. And there are going to be some games you lose that you blame on luck. You don't realize the mistakes that you made, so it's hard to self-correct.
Yeah.
You go, well, I shouldn't have played that Dread Screamer there. I had maybe like a 40% chance of hitting, and I lost the game off that. You don't think about that. You just think about being unlucky.
Yeah.
And I don't think that teaches you the right lesson. This is going to be something that I'm going to try to apply to my own learning, because I think this is something that I've fallen victim a bit too much to, is that Levia tempts you to make bad decisions, I think.
Yeah, I think so, for sure.
You have to learn to self-correct.
The payoff, it makes the payoff for doing the bit, like, if it goes your way, it's great.
Yeah.
It's massive.
Great. And you're like, if this pays off, man, I punish it, and then it doesn't pay off, and you're just like...
Yeah. It's massive boom and bust, right? Like, if you keep...
Yeah.
Like, Rhino has, like, a smaller level of this, where you maybe keep an extra card to reward yourself if you roll one on Scape Skins. Yeah. Levia is, like... much more integral to her play style is this boom and bust style where you have to weigh up your odds and decide whether or not you're going to go for it and whether or not that's going to win you the game. And I think it's going to be so difficult to nail that on that hero that the players that do are going to be excellent at the game. Like so much discipline to make those decisions.
I think the variance is like a really important point, because like when you're learning Ninja at the start and you never played, it's very, very easy to pick up your mistake of I sequenced this turn wrong. It's this attack before this attack, and slowly start building up more. Levius, I got unlucky.
Yeah.
Like Reiner, a lot of the manipulation, the odds is
entirely
blocking
in your control, right?
Entirely in your control. You're blocking and then you're pitching this. Levia, to get these odds in your control, you got to think about what's in your hand, what you're pitching, what's in your graveyard, whether you have to go for that risk or not. Whether you have to go for this.
On top of the complexities of just not having cards, actually just can't block.
Exactly.
Cards you're forced to keep.
Yeah.
Or, if you've got your blood debt stacked up, you're forced to banish something. So you have, you're not only just weighing up that turn's odds, you're also weighing up your future odds of how likely is this going to really bite me back. So I guess to sum it up, I can't roll more than a 1 on Barkbone Strapping. The hero sucks.
And he's out.
She's a great hero. I think, yeah, she's going to be hard though.
There'll be a
really
dedicated Livia player out there somewhere.
There's going to be some Carol,
Yeah.
you know, or some Kieran of the world, really dedicated. Kale McCreath on Bravo. There's going to be someone that picks up Livia and finds her absolutely addicting, and eventually figures her out and just top 8s everything, game after game, tournament after tournament. And I'm really looking forward to when that happens.
I'm looking forward to someone just rolling
find out.
face.
Yeah, I can see the same thing with Bolton.
Yeah.
This week coming.
Yeah,
Road to Nats.
I think
First couple events.
yeah, these other Monarch heroes. I mean, obviously, Chain and Prism have left like a massive impression on the competitive landscape, but I think Bolton and Levy are like quite hard to figure out and also very difficult to pilot.
Yeah.
I think eventually we're going to see them creep in and be like
For
mainstay staples.
I think it's just the ceiling on Bolton and Levia is insanely high.
Yep.
Of like damage and skill, like the skill ceiling, the floor is also higher.
Yep. And you can play this clip to me in 5 years when Levia is still garbage tier. I'm gonna stick with it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no one's worked it out yet.
Yeah.
They're still coming.
We'll be a
Just not
crazy old
smart
man.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not
The
dedicated
human
enough.
race
Yeah.
is not smart enough to work out Levia. She's too powerful.
Well,
Yeah.
I gave up on Prism.
You gave up.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I had a rough time. I've just like given up on the Wario matchup.
Yeah.
That said, tonight I did do a recording for an Idle War +1 before this.
Yeah.
And
Did
it
beat
was
a Wario.
the best Wario matchup I've ever had from Aggro Prison.
Yeah.
And I just went into that was like,
Yeah.
this is basically a loss to me. But I managed to kill her while still maintaining 6 life. And
Yeah.
every one of my other Warrior matchups before then, I have not gotten the past 15 life.
You just gone
So,
like
you just get like
steamrolled.
steamrolled.
Yeah.
I think slight changes, adding in
Yeah.
defense reactions. Not just defense reactions, but like Fate for Seeing, for example, and what's the
Yeah.
other one?
Sick.
Have made
Yeah.
a huge difference
I
in
think-
the matchup.
I haven't tested it, obviously, and we almost had an argument. We did have an argument about this the other night, but I still think that there is some room to solve it.
Yeah.
I think like this is just an idea, but say like Yellow Plunderon, you can use that so that you can block really heavily for a turn Arsenal and then play a bit more like a ninja, where you're just playing towards a big setup turn,
Yeah.
so that you can go over the warrior.
Well,
It's
you
going to
make
be
your own. You make your own erudition at that point. For,
Yeah.
Herald of your edition, right? So I think there is a way that you can win the
Yeah.
matchup. It's just hard to
It's just
find.
hard to find, right? And hard to fight through. The like you said, like with Livier, like when you have a bad game, you have a bad game.
Yeah,
And it's like
it feels
it
impossible,
hurts,
right?
you know, like it actually hurts, like
Yeah.
losing a game where you just can't think of a way out, right? And you
Yeah.
just like,
You're
why
like,
does this feel
"Man, I
so
don't wanna play
one-sided?
this."
Yeah.
The old Bravo Dash games.
Yeah.
Where you're playing
Yeah.
Bravo and you're like, oh, what do I
I'm playing
do?
like when you're like, bravo, you're like, I'm playing every attack, and it doesn't matter what I do, I'm still getting wrecked at the end of this. Like, I'm playing every attack.
80%
I'm playing
of the time.
Cripplings, I'm playing Spinals. They're all dominated,
Yeah.
and they're doing.
There's
nothing.
pummels on the wings.
It's
I
like-
can't draw them.
And it just, I think it feels really bad as well, because even when you do get that 1-1, especially when you got such a mental block for certain matchups as well, it's like, oh, I got really lucky this game. It's
Yeah. That's how
You
I
need
felt.
you need
I
a
gotta-
close, you need like almost like a close game where you feel like you didn't draw the nuts and you
Yeah.
still managed to eke it out.
The thing is,
Those are the best games.
Yeah.
Right?
In that recording, I did feel like I drew the nuts. I had library from like turn 2 onwards,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to keep it the whole game.
Yeah.
And there was only one turn where I didn't use the library to draw more,
Mhm.
And that
and that was the last
massively turns the matchup in your
Yeah.
favor.
turn. Yeah, and that was And she had the option to destroy the library. I think she made the mistake of taking.
Just
she
keeping it.
was like she ended up double pitching yellow, and then nourishing emptiness. So she did get to draw 6 cards instead of 4 or 5.
I can
but-
see you doing that.
Listen, the
That sounds
dopamine on
pretty-
that sounds
that sounds
amazing.
pretty epic.
Yeah, you're not wrong. The dopamine on that sounds amazing.
I'm
but-
gonna like my 7-card warrior hand.
Well, six.
So no
Oh,
Arsenal.
plus
No,
Arsenal.
Arsenal.
Oh,
No,
no.
Arsenal.
Ah,
But yeah, like it's so like, oh, that sounds great. But really, like you've got to think outside of that. Like I'm getting 1 6-card hand turn. How
Yeah.
much more advantage out of this? How many more 5-card hand turns is he getting out of this? Right.
Yeah. That,
And the
like-
answer
Well, you only
is, like,
what 3 more turns for it to cancel out
I mean,
for you getting
yeah,
5 card
3
turns.
more turns.
Yeah.
no, what you're saying makes perfect sense. but I think Calum will agree to me. The 7-card Warrior Hammer, I get to Steelblade Supremacy you with multiple twinning blades, is I'm going to tell my grandkids that story.
Yeah.
You know, so...
The problem is you pitch 2 of those steel twinning blades to give yourself that. It's like a shunt and a twinning. But
Yeah. That sounds like an epic game anyways. So, yeah.
It would definitely be enjoyable when you watch it.
But
I don't know. I don't think I am taking that deck to Road to Net, so I think at this point
You settled on Shane.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have...
Come to the dark side.
I don't like it, but it is...
Deck is just so obviously powerful.
Yeah.
And it's not a functionally hard deck to learn to play.
No, it's not. You just banish the good cards, draw the other good ones, and you win.
banished 6 really good cards. This is great.
Wow, I drew Out of War. I draw 3 cards. you know, like Light has to put a card in their soul, and then like, pitch 4 to get, or 3 with Vestige to draw 3 cards. And it's user cards, so it's still 2, which is the same rate as Out of War.
Yeah.
Out of War, you just get to draw 2 cards and keep one of them, or make it better by putting it in Vanish, and it's just like off 1 resource. It's just like this card is so obnoxiously like pushed in this hero.
I do have a new trick in that deck that I'm going to be testing out this Wednesday, and I'm hoping to punish people with it, and it will be interesting to see how it plans out.
Can you tell us?
We know the trick.
You guys know the trick.
It's a trick. It's the trick that Liam mentioned. Should we mention the trick for people
around
who don't know the rules?
I don't read the chat.
Okay, so here's the trick that Nick is alluding to. The text on the Seeds of Agony says the next card gains the text target hero takes 1 arcane damage.
So you can actually
not target opposing hero. You can ping yourself.
You can ping yourself with arcane damage, which blatantly seems really, really dumb.
However,
you compare it with
Consuming Volition does not state a lot of Runeblade cards for context, like Rip Through Reality is a very obvious one because people might think of this state if our arcane damage has been dealt to opposing hero.
Yeah.
Consuming Volition does not state that.
It states if arcane damage has been dealt or dealt to a hero.
So you ping yourself. Let yourself take the damage. And don't arcane barrier it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna block. Oh damn it!
You ping the one and
reflexes.
And consuming volitions if it hits they discard a card is turned on.
Massively punish them.
So you can turn on. You can essentially if you have seeds and consuming, you can turn on consuming volition at will.
If you have a seeds and a howl in your banish pile, and you have consuming and a blue in hand, you're forcing a 3-card block from them.
Yeah.
Or their discarded card.
Yeah.
You know what, chain players? Just forget the last 5 minutes. Don't want to deal with that. This sounds painful.
It does.
Yeah. It sounds... I'm messing with people on Wednesday with it just to see how it goes.
Yeah.
It sounds frightening.
And I'm not going to feel good for doing it. I'm going to feel good for doing it.
It's so cheeky. I'm going to hurt myself.
It's like a cheeky dopamine.
It's kind of flavorful.
Yeah.
Should we get on to card of the week?
Yeah, so we've been rambling for a while. Card of the week.
Calum is very happy. It's his choice. It's his favorite card.
Excited.
So we got Blue Plunder Run, right?
Also a great card. Not as good as I play Blue Plunder Run as well.
Yellow Plunder Run. We were only going to talk about Yellow Plunder Run.
I played that in Aggro Ira when I went to the calling. You think I did better than Daniel. I went positive. I went 6 and 5.
I went 6 and 5 as well.
Oh shit, you did.
Yeah, I went 6 and 5.
I did the same as Daniel.
Bloody KO.
Yeah. No, so I've played all colors of Plunderon. No, yes, the card of the week is Plunderon. This is my favorite card.
What does it do? Read the card.
I don't even have it up, and I can tell you what the card does. The card says when you play Plunderon, it says when an attack this turn hits, draw a card. Essentially, so it's not the next attack. When an attack this combat chain or combat turn hits, draw a card. Mm-hmm. If Plunderon has been played from Arsenal, the red version gives the next attack +3, +2, +1 for the cycle. The +3 doesn't apply to all of them. It's just the first one. However, the draw a card applies until something hits that turn.
Yeah. I've got a funny story about this card because I was, Nick and I were playing before Arcane Rising came out, and Plunderon got spoiled, and I was like, guys, this card is insane. You know how good Snatch is? You can make your own Snatch with this card.
Yeah.
And Steven and Nick were like, no, you to us, it's not that good. You were wrong. The card's insane.
Yeah.
All right, Calum, why's the card so good? 'Cause you're a ninja expert.
Yeah. So this card leads to just it's completely nuts blowout turns. So a really common one is most aggro ninjas run Surging Strike and Leg Tap. You go red Plunder Run from Arsenal, pitch a blue, or you have an Energy Potion or Tunic up, and you go Surging Strike for 8. If this hits, draw a card. If this have a Katsu trigger, you can manipulate your hand.
Yeah.
You can have a Whelming Gust Wave to follow that up. You're hitting someone at their face for 8, go again. If it hits, draw a card.
Yeah.
And they had to think about this. They had to worry about the +8 drawing a card, or later on down the chain, just any other attack getting through, you're still drawing off the Plunder Run until something hits.
There are quite a few times where I've thought in my head that it should really say the next attack action that costs 1 or less gets +3.
Yep.
You know, and, I mean that way you would get to 1
Yeah.
to 7, but using it on Surging Strike feels profoundly unfair.
Yeah. And you have and it pairs with Mask unbelievably well.
Just double draw.
You're threatening double draws the entire
The amount
turn.
of damage that can come off the double draw is
Yep.
ludicrous in a ninja deck.
It's just the card is absolutely nuts, and the blue card still functions in Aggro Ninja. If you personally like playing it, 0 cost, pitches for 3.
Yeah.
Only blocks for 2, but I'm used to all my stuff blocking for 2 at this point.
And
it's
it's
still-
still not blocking.
Yeah, and it still does something. You
Yeah.
can still play it from hand if you desperately need to threaten a draw, or you can still stick an Arsenal. And giving +1 to like a head jab, you're hitting the full break point as well. It just helps everything hit break points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just good in Ninja.
And I mean,
It's
like,
good in other decks as well.
a lot of your cards are already on break points, so the +1 just puts them further up, and then like it makes your opponent have to block around breaking scales. Or something.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, like if you buff Surging Strike to 6, then your opponent can't just block it for 6 because breaking scales is sitting there threatening that extra. This one. Actually, you can't. Surging Strike is not a combo card.
No, so you can't
Oh,
breaking scales.
Yeah, sorry,
Surging Strike.
but it still affects other cards.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But in the exact
Of
same
course,
way.
it's like a 3-card block if you read onto a surging.
Yeah.
And then the Whelming, which is a 2-card block as it normally is,
It's
Yeah.
just
more punishing.
I mean,
because
yeah, it's the same sort of scenario for other cards, right? Ignore my bad example. It pushes Ancestral Empowerment over the top quite a lot
Yeah,
as well.
it does.
So in the same way that like Art of War can as well.
Yeah.
So,
It is. And I think the scariest thing is that it's not just that first card that hits, draws a card, it's throughout the entire chain.
makes
So
you have to
against
block everything.
any go wide deck, every single attack action that you're throwing out is threatening a draw, which is massive in
Yeah.
all these aggro decks that try and do it.
And-
You see chain running it as well.
Yeah, and it's like the two effects tear your opponent apart, right?
Yeah.
Because you give your attack +3, that means you have to block more cards on the first attack, so the second attacks are more likely to hit and draw, right?
Yeah.
It just makes it so much harder to block out because it pretty much requires a whole hand of cards to
Yeah.
deal with. Like, it's actually insane.
One of
and then you play your Plunder Run from Arsenal, and your opponent goes, Arclight Sentinel. And you go, oh well, GG.
I go break time snap potion. I don't.
It's not there. You just played
Yeah.
the Plunder Run. You don't have a time snap there.
What?
Yeah, then I cry a little bit.
Yeah, you just go, well, that's a waste of Plunder Run.
Yep.
And then you go Arsenal the other Plunder Run from your hand, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
That's right. Arclight Sentinel makes a lot of decks cry.
it does.
Yeah.
But
It's an upsetting card.
it's my love for Plunder Run. I believe it's maybe Hayden Dale who I heard first say this. I can't quite remember. Which what we need in Tales of Aria is Run to Plund. Exact same card, just the text is reversed. So from Arsenal, it gets the draw card effect, and if you just play it, it's just a +3.
I think that card would be even more
That would be
insane.
even more insane.
It's just like,
Nimbleism that only gets better if you Arsenal it.
Yep.
yeah.
We need Run to Plund and Plunder Run. Oh. But yeah, card's extremely good. And Chain as well, threatening more draws. And Bolton is also very good. Turns on your go again already.
Azalea?
Azalea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's super good in Ranger too.
Yeah.
So long as they can get go again on their main attack.
Yeah, any aggro deck that wants to go wide and plays very low cost stuff, I think should definitely consider playing Plunder Run because it's
and Plunder on blue.
yeah, because it is these are the cards that actually help you win the game. So you can just play the hands as you come, but Plunder Run is about crafting this massive blowout turn it's impossible for them to completely defend everything that you're about to throw at them.
And of course, if they're like caught with their pants down, or like they've set up their own turn, you counter it with your plunder on turn, then
Yeah.
you can completely destroy their game plan. Bolt them with double Lunas. It doesn't matter if you plunder on them.
Yeah,
They're dead if they don't
exactly.
block.
And I think, and like almost an undervalued part of the card is if you've been put on the back foot and you have it in an arsenal. Say you have like a torrent of tempo with the tunic counter up. Plunder on from arsenal and torrent of tempo for 8, threatening on hit a draw card and go again.
It just
You've
gets
only
you
got
back
a
in the
you got a
game.
you got a 1 card hand with tunic, and you're threatening a lot. So although that's not the best case scenario, I don't really want to be playing that card like that.
Yeah. You're still like threatening 12
Yeah.
damage, right? If you draw a 0 cost off the
Yeah.
top, get your Fluster Fist and slap them for
Exactly.
4 off the top.
It
It's
just
12 damage
it
off 1
functions
card.
as a backup plan as well. It helps you get out of sticky situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It unfortunately does make Command and Conquer very good against ninja decks.
It does. Makes
How many times do you get trapped with it in Arsenal against Command and Conquer and you feel like super pinned?
you just kind of stare at it. You just kind of die
Especially
inside.
considering like most Command and Conquers for a ninja is not a nice card to block.
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, 6 is pretty
Like-
hard when your card's blocked too.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's 3 of my cards. Yikes! I don't even
Yeah.
get to keep 2 of them. It's just like I'm Kadashi this turn. Here you go. Have 3 cards.
Yeah.
Pitch Kadashi pass.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad when that
CNC
happens.
is not a fun card, at least to play
No.
against. It's a very good card and
The
very
more I
healthy
think
for the
about
game.
it, the more likely Yellow Plunder Run might make it into the aggro prison list because I really want to go Yellow Plunder Run into
Yeah,
Command and Conquer, and then have the opponents to go. This is the pummel turn. I am screwed. This is the pummel. Do they have the
I
pummel?
mean, if that happens, you just win, right?
Yeah.
It's just like
Gosh. I mean, like, I guess we're talking about Command and Conquer now, but Command and Conquer is, like, not a traditionally, like, good Guardian card. A lot of Guardian decks don't play it. But just the power of Command and Conquer Pummel just makes it into a lot of Guardian decks for
Yeah.
that exact reason.
Yeah.
And, like, in the mirror, that's such a devastating attack. It's incredibly
Yeah.
powerful.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's why we see
Just
it played against aggro decks as well a lot. Command
just-
and Conquer because of Plunderon.
Yeah.
Cards like Plunderon as well. See what you got it in Bolton, Ninja, Chain.
yeah.
Hopefully your aggro prism soon. Azalea.
I mean, applying on-hit effects to other attacks in general is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
Because you get to apply the valuable on-hit to a card that doesn't have an on-hit that's, like, say, more efficient in stats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like why E-Strike is so powerful with a lot of these cards, is because it's 0 cost, so you can, like, E-Strike it and stuff. Sorry, you can Razor Reflex it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can also, like, buff it with Plunder Run to go 10 or 8 with Go Again, draw a card if it hits, or you can buff it to 10 with the 7 mode with Razor Reflex and give it Go Again.
Yeah.
You can just make,
You
by
can-
combining these cards, you can just make them insanely powerful.
How even E-Strike draw a card of Plunderon is still very, very strong.
Yeah.
E-Strike for
I,
8, it's
um,
replaced it, and you may be getting another card in hand
Yeah,
as well.
I mean-
On Friday, I got to play Red Plunger Run, Shadow Puppetry, into an E-Strike. I was like, E-Strike for draw card? Because
With 11, yeah. It's already got Go Again from Shadow Puppetry.
I don't know, I mean, E-Strike for just 7.
Yeah, so
'cause
it
you got-
goes
you
up
got
to
a draw
11,
card
right?
And you got the Shadow Puppetry.
It's Blue Plunder Run?
Nah, Red Plunger Run.
From Arsenal? Or
Yeah,
from
from Arsenal.
So it'll be
So
E-Strike for
it's
11.
Yeah.
It's 9 if you
7.
draw a card.
8, 9, 10. No.
Oh.
He picked the
Oh,
7
plus two?
because the
Okay.
Shadow
Oh, no, it's
Puppetry.
11 because of Shadow
Yeah,
Puppetry.
it's Shadow Puppetry.
Yeah,
is
okay.
plus.
Yeah. And then, like, you just, like... So most people don't, like, actually resolve this the right way. They usually go draw a card and they take the card away and then they go, oh, Shadow Puppetry. You should always resolve Shadow Puppetry first.
Yeah.
Because you can resolve Shadow Puppetry, see something like, I don't know, read Riftbind and go, that could be better banished, and then you go banish
Yeah.
that. Because you don't have to banish the
Yeah,
card.
you get to
No,
see
you
it
don't.
when you
Opt,
draw.
and then
So you
choose
can
whether
decide
banish
whether
Yeah.
it's better on your hand or in
it
your
or in
banish
banish,
zone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you have the third option of
Yeah.
banishing it and looking for a different
Yeah.
card. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And same in Ninja. Always, when a hit trigger occurs, for those you don't know, you can choose the order of which they occur.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like
it's very
Mask
important.
Draw,
This-
Katsu.
Yeah. It's important because this works for
Yeah.
any kind of trigger in the game.
Exactly.
So if you have any kind of trigger that trigger at the same time, if you hit at the start of your turn, at the start of the combat phase, you get the turn player, so whoever's turn it is, gets to choose the order of which
Yeah.
they go.
Yeah. Which is
and-
very important for a lot of things.
Yeah, it's very relevant for Katsu. It's very relevant for Dorinthia or Steelblade Supremacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how Steelblade Supremacy and Bolters interact. Yeah.
It's relevant
Good
for
to
almost
know.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That reminds me. I still got a judge test in the weekend.
Oh, you did indeed.
Oh
I
yeah.
am an officially level 1 judge.
Don't judge me.
Woo!
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I just like to say you haven't made a move in the recent moment, and I need you to make a move.
Daniel, it's time to make a move.
It's time to make a play, sir.
We will be IP5ing Daniel no matter what he does.
Oh god. My reign of terror has come to
No.
an
Yeah.
end.
We got to stop him winning all the dice jar armories.
No.
And we'll just be IP5ing him. For
IP5
breathing.
At a casual event, like, just
Yeah.
like, yeah, IP5, it's
Yeah.
clearly valid.
Oh, judge what I do. You breathed.
I
Unfortunately.
heard you breathe. I heard you breathe from the other side of the room. I had to come over. I had to stop my game, give myself a 5-minute extension.
Yeah. So you're
Nah,
all set to judge Nats. Road to Nats.
Road to Nats.
Yeah.
I would like to judge Nats, but I imagine LSS will have a large amount of their own staff on
Yeah.
board. I imagine in other countries for their Nats where LSS staff probably going to not be as fully present. I imagine some of them will be there, but I don't imagine all of them will be present.
Yeah.
Yep.
They'll probably have their level 1 judges in the area. They'll ask them and offer them something to judge for those events.
Yeah.
I would like the same here, because to be quite honest, I would actually rather judge nationals than play nationals. You know why? Because it means I can get drunk and not have to worry.
Yeah.
You can't be drunk and judge.
Hey,
Come
it wasn't in the rules. They didn't say it now.
They're
I
gonna
can
drug
just
test
imagine-
you at the door.
I realized the signal. Yeah, come on.
I can just
Oh,
imagine someone yelling
no.
judge and Nick stumbling over with like a bottle of liquor in his hand going, what seems to
Are
be
you
the
kidding,
problem
man?
here, fellas?
They don't need a breathalyzer. If you show up like you did to the last Nats, they're just gonna look at you and turn you away.
Yeah. No, but insane. In general, honestly, I would
Yeah.
rather judge an
Fair enough.
experience like that than play it.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't enjoy playing it. It's just that.
Quite the video application.
Yeah, I won't be drunk. I promise. Like, I promise.
You're watching.
Yeah.
I won't be drunk. I promise.
Hey,
don't
it's
think
me,
I was-
James White.
I don't know.
I also won't be extremely harsh with
Yeah.
the rulings and penalties. Like,
You know.
these guys are joking around about.
Unless it is on us, in which
I mean,
case.
yeah.
Yeah.
If LSS does watch this podcast, or anyone from there, I'd be humbled, but also,
I apologize
Oh,
for all the
yeah,
embarrassing
exactly.
crap we say when we say a
yeah,
lot.
I'm ready to face the consequences.
I am not. I am not affiliated with. No, I'm kidding.
I'm not affiliated with myself.
The rest of this podcast will not be.
Anyways, I think
In general,
it's-
honestly, I want to be as good as a judge as I possibly can, and I
Yep.
do hope to make a good impact. in the
right,
judging scene.
IP5.
Yeah. I think you
Okay.
will.
I think it's been a fairly long episode today.
Also,
so-
if any LSE staff are watching, can I get the Bumblebee shirt, please? Hey,
pull off that sick rap.
Yeah.
I just want to rock one, please.
All right. What I was trying to say is that it's been a fairly long episode. Is there anything more you guys would like to say before we start finishing up?
No, I think
Get
that's
hype,
it.
Road to Net season,
Yeah.
mate.
Get hype.
Games are going to be happening this weekend.
Have fun at Road to Nats.
Yeah,
Yep.
enjoy it.
Set yourself some goals.
Have a look at the top 8 lists.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on them as they come out.
Yeah. Just a
It's great.
quick thank you guys for all making it today. The three are all together.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a long one, so definitely thank you if you made it this far.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, incredible.
yeah, could get through a lot of us rambling. So
Yeah,
we're incredibly prepared podcasters
we are.
with excellent time management skills.
Yeah, excellent time management skills and great pre-planning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Very
amazing
concise.
pre-planning. I imagine
Yeah.
half this just didn't
Yeah.
come out on.
I mean, this
spot.
is our outro, for God's sake.
yeah. This is our outro. Yeah, we've got plenty of more +1 videos coming down the line. We're really enjoying making those. So make sure you like.
We do
them.
want some more suggestions, but I don't want to do Ninja or Control Dash. Sorry, no,
We'll get someone else on.
We'll get someone else on this
Yeah.
list, but we will definitely get some of those. games out.
Definitely let us know what matchups you'd like to see. If you haven't subscribed, make Greg happy. Sure, you
Yep.
leave a like and watch some of the +1 videos as they come out.
And feel
It's
free to
really
leave us a
great for the
comment
channel.
on how we're going. I'm
Yeah,
sorry that
exactly.
my voice is a little raspy today. I've actually got like
Death.
I
You've
got
got
death. Nah, I got a bit of a rough throat. as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the flu or anything. It's just my throat's just
Yeah.
sore. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Maybe I'm dying. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Anyways.
I mean, you're
I
allergic
don't
to
think I have
greens, so.
COVID. I'd be patient zero in Dunedin. I don't actually physically go talk to enough people to justify having.
Yeah, but
like if
but
I
we
had
have
COVID, you guys probably gave it to me.
True.
I don't think that's an option.
Yeah.
Me, excellent friends have her.
So it's not that. So don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But
It's just
anyway,
What kind of outro
yeah.
is this?
Thank you
Anyway,
very much
thank
for
you
watching, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Hope
We'll
you
see
guys
next
have an
time.
excellent day. See ya.
Gosh, what a mission.